think I'm so toasted right now. It's hard to know.
I think we're ending up with a similar ranking, though, interestingly enough.
Welcome to Whiskey and SV. I'm your host Sam, and tonight we'll be drinking some Four Roses limited editions. And we're joined by our esteemed guest, who is now a bourbon master, Kevin.
Hi, everybody.
Thanks for joining us, Kevin.
Of course.
And congratulations on your recent achievement. Quite an achievement. I think it was a hard work, and it's well deserved.
A lot of hard work. Yeah. I'm very happy to have gone through the process.
Nice. Okay, so tonight we'll be drinking, trying to do a blind of the most recent releases of the Four Roses limited edition small batches from 2020 to 2023. 2023 is of course the 135th anniversary, much touted, but we'll see if it stands the test of blind taste.
Certainly we will.
So can you tell us a little bit about these? What's the difference between these and the regular like small batch select that you can get in Costco for like $60? Because I understand these are significantly more expensive.
That's a good question. Yeah, so the bottle shape looks very similar, but what the real difference here is that the master distiller, Brent Elliott, he basically once a year takes all like a bunch of really, really limited stocks that he has available. Sometimes it's 10-year whiskey, but sometimes it goes up to 25-year plus whiskey, which is quite wild. And so he does a little bit of mingling, a little blending, and they actually call them their mariages in order to, because it's really going to homage to the blending process. And each one of these expressions is unique every year. And so as we taste through these, it's going to be a good experience, and we're going to see stark differences.
Great. And it seems like they are indeed small batch. I mean, there's about 14,040 on this one. I guess and that was even the 135th is even less, right? It's like less than 5,000 bottles.
Right, but this was the European release, right? So
so maybe it's like a different.
We'll have to look that up.
We'll have to look that up. Yeah. Okay, cool. So we don't have a large enough table to do, and what we'd like to do is make sure that when we're providing the notes, they're going to be the same. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to set these aside, and first Kevin will leave the room. I'll do a shuffle, and then I'll leave, and Kevin will do a shuffle.
So, all right, I'll leave.
All right, thank you. All right, Kevin. All right, let's maybe start from the left. I'll take these.
Cool. All right, cheers.
Cheers. All right.
Oh, it started strong.
Yes, this is right up my wheelhouse. Lots of oak, beautiful Kentucky bourbon flavors, like just super vanilla, caramel, brown sugar. I love this. This is really great. It's a great start.
All right, let's try this palate.
Super oaky.
Very oaky. It's got a little bit of that Four Roses funk. You get that yeastiness.
Yeah. Love it.
Wow, that's a good expression.
That's excellent. Yeah. For sure. We've been full transparency. We've been having quite a few other whiskeys tonight. So
when we get together, right?
But yeah, this is amazing. I really like this.
That was solid. All right, let's try number 2.
Yep. Wow. Okay. So comparatively, I get a lot more like fruity notes on this one. Fruity and like aromatic kind of floral notes. It honestly reminds me a little bit of a Buffalo Trace Mash Bill 1 product.
I also get a lot of sweetness. Like some toffee notes too, some brown sugar.
Yeah, if I didn't know any better, I'd say this is a Buffalo Trace, Mash Bill 1 product. I would say like maybe a lower proof stag or something like that.
Yeah. So it's like that sweet spot between, because there's really not an expression that it sits right there at the 50-something percent. So
interestingly, the palate is still quite oaky. Like I was telling you before, like for me, bourbon experience, like it's on the palate is usually that sweet arrival, and then baking spices that kind of like make my mouth water, and then afterwards it's like typically going back to like these syrupy oaky notes. So it's like sweet, spicy, back to like sweets, and like then the bitters and oak come out at the end for me.
Yeah, so. And like what I'm actually really finding with these two expressions, we have to go through the next two, but it's that extra rye content that Four Roses has. It really adds that viscosity and that depth of flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And so, even though we're comparing these against each other, like they're all standalone great expressions. So
Mm-hmm.
I think they're fantastic.
Yeah, I think this one is a little bit more spicy than the previous one. So far, I think I have a slight preference for that first one. I mean, we'd have to definitely go back and forth, but so far, I think I definitely give the edge to the first one, and then the second one is just slightly behind.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I'm going to stagger them this way as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
All
try the
right.
next one.
Again, this to me is much closer to the second expression than the first one. I was getting a lot more like oaky notes on the first one.
Let's see what you're doing.
Oaky and yeasty notes.
Yeah, it's that yeasty funk. So you get that first one with the oak.
Yeah, this is even more fruity than that second one, I think, for me. Yeah, this has got more spices comparatively. This one is more like fruity, kind of aromatic floral notes.
And I get a little bit of bitterness on the end of the palate before the finish. But that finish is good. It's long. It's quite floral.
You're right. I can definitely see that bitterness a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not a bitterness that bothers me too much, though. It's because it is more of an oak bitterness rather than a citrus. I don't like it when it's like more of a lemon or lime skin bitterness.
Okay.
That's citrus driven. This is not that. It's definitely more driven by oak. So
the astringency of the oak is certainly playing a big role there. I mean, these are all like, if you look at these expressions, like they're mixing, like blending whiskeys that are like double digits, and so when bourbon gets that old, like you get that oak. It's so nice and it's such a great expression.
Yeah, for these, I think I slightly had a preference on the nose for this one, but on the palate, I slightly prefer this one. But they're like kind of neck and neck.
They're pretty close. I'll have to come back around on that one.
Yeah,
let's do the last one. Ooh.
Again, this one to me is closer to these middle ones than the first one.
I get like a little bit of nougat on this one.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of like that sweet kind of creaminess.
Sweet creaminess.
That's tannic. It's got some oak.
You're right. It makes me wonder because as you know, I've had more experience with the 135th, and
yeah,
it was the more oaky one. However, I have to say, like on the nose, it was also more oaky, and I think like between these two, I'm guessing that one for 35th has got to be one of these two. But the question is which one, because on the palate, this definitely comes across as super oaky, but on the nose, when I first went for this,
yeah,
and even now, I get more oak on the nose for this. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that this is the 135th, and it's the nose just has much more oak on it.
I think besides like which expression it is, this one feels like the oak is better integrated than this one here. I'm such a sucker for sweet oak, so like for me, I like both of these expressions.
You're right.
You get a little bit more depth on this one.
Yeah, these two are definitely like less oak, at least on the nose. These two are definitely more prominent oaky. I get some astringency and ethanol notes on this one though, so it kind of moves it down the scale for me for sure.
I see that. I see what you're saying, but for me, that sweet oak just really brings it up. And so I'm seeing like what are the consistencies you're seeing between these expressions?
Obviously they're all Kentucky bourbon, so like that obviously the caramel, vanilla, brown sugar notes, the oak is similar, but then there's also this rick house funk, as we talked about, and sort of a funk that comes from the yeast, the different yeast that Four Roses has. I think it's definitely different than the yeast that you get from other distilleries. So there's always some special signature that makes it sort of like obvious that it is Four Roses. Even on the nose, and for these, I would have guessed Buffalo Trace, but then when you taste it, I think you can kind of tell.
I think that's the whole point of like Four Roses and their whole process, right? Like they do that single story rick house, which is like all the whole point is to bring out the flavors of the yeast, and so they don't want to like mask those in any ways through the aging process. So I think the yeast and like that kind of funkiness you get off it, like there's like this quality to it that you can always just pull back and you're like, yes, that's Four Roses. It's just it's hard to describe besides a funk. Yeah.
Okay, so let's try to do one quick final round and like have our rankings. So
let's rank them.
Yeah. Yeah, this got to be 135th.
Even if it's not, it's delicious.
It is.
That one's spicier.
Yeah.
Very, very spicy.
I get more of an oak finish on this, interestingly.
Interesting.
So, I'm kind of hesitant. I do like the oak,
I think the oak's great, but
Mhm.
for me, the spiciness of this one pulls it a little bit back. I think this one's better integrated.
Mhm.
These are all so good. So we're splitting hairs here, but let me know when you have your ranking.
Sure, yeah. I'm gonna go with. I think this is my last bit, just because it's like too spicy. I really love the nose on this one. I think I'm so toasted right now. It's hard to know.
I think we're ending up with a similar ranking, though. Interestingly enough.
Yeah, I like both of these like super oaky ones. So I think maybe this for
Yeah,
me as well.
that's for me.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, so I guess it seems like these two, because of the oakiness, are definitely like in the lead for us. These two are more on the fruity side, but also like on the nose fruity, but more spicy on the palate.
Yeah,
So
this one for me I put in last. It was just the spiciness
too much
of it.
spicy.
Just
Okay.
didn't feel integrated.
Okay.
I'm surprised we had the same ranking. You and I, we don't always have the same palate, and
That's
so
true. That's true.
maybe we influenced each other here a little bit.
That's true. That's true. All
All
right,
right, let's see
let's
what
do
we
the
got.
reveal. 4.
135th.
All right. So
Yep.
we both preferred the 135th.
It was delicious, well integrated,
Yes.
good oak influence
Yes.
all around. It was a great dram.
Yes, I agree. Okay, number 2, number 3.
That was 2022.
All right, so
Yeah.
that's good. So, and then what do we have here? Number 3, number 1. All right, we got exactly the same.
And then we got number 2.
Well, obviously because we did pick the same ones. And
Right.
but that's great.
I feel like if I did this again, it might come out different. But at the same time, like, I'm very happy with this, with my ranking on this.
I think we've had like several sittings with these, not blind, and every time we have preferred the 135th.
Yes. Yeah, before going into this, actually, I've always valued the 21st or the 2021 as my second of this lineup, and then the 20th, and then the 2022. So maybe my palate's been changing, or the blind is really giving us that kind of humbled clarity. So that's good.
That's great. All right. Well, this was super interesting for me. I hope you enjoyed your time. And
I had a great time.
All right. So let's cheers with our most favorite one.
Cheers.
Thanks, Kevin. And thank you for joining us. See you next time.